The Leafs, always an adventure. It is pretty fun, though. Yeah, it's fun, but it's dumb. Oh. You said what you said. It's victorious puppies. This team is ruining my life. Why do I watch hockey? Stress relief. Okay. We can, and we will. Leafs lose 5-4 in overtime against the New York Rangers. Enough with the 5-4 overtime games. Actually, that's not true. They're pretty fun. Enough with losing them. Let's talk about that game, and actually, it feels like the circumstances surrounding the game are even bigger. Me and my big mouth, the Leafs lose Soup. It was significant. It was ligaments and arteries. They're gonna miss him for, it sounds like a minimum 3 months. Guy comes into the NHL in the hardest situation possible. Brand new coach, can't speak the language. The team struggles out of the gate for over 20 games. And then he's got to get used to a new coach, and somehow he still found himself on a unit with John Tavares. I'm just glad to hear that he's going to end up being okay. Again, it was the top hand, not the bottom hand. I'm sure that still sucks, though. And now all of a sudden, there's a big hole in the lineup, despite the fact that I think this team has some pretty impressive wingers. And again, me and my big mouth, I told you Muzzin shouldn't have been out there to kill that penalty. He broke his foot. Mikheyev's one thing. Replacing Muzzin? Oof! Even an injured Muzzin that hasn't quite looked right for quite some time. Oof! Sheldon Keefe put Marty Marincin with Justin Hall, which I don't blame him for doing because they were together when the Marlies won the Calder Cup. But dude, Hall was on like the shutdown pair with Muzzin. That is not going to cut it. It's not going to come close to cutting it. Riley Berry's fun going one way, brutal going the other, and Dermott Ceci is just kind of the third pair. It is what it is. One of the LFR questions, I can't find it right now, is what's the Leaf shutdown pair now? The correct answer is they don't have one. Maybe try a Riley Hall, Dermott Berry, which has had some chemistry together, and then Marincin Ceci. When are the World Juniors over again? Rasmus! And I know the Leafs have called up Liljegren, but where the heck does he go? Someone's got to play their offside, one of the right-handed shots. Either Berry, Ceci, or Hall. Unless you make it Liljegren, that's a fun way to start in the NHL. Not great, Bob. About 90 seconds into the game, Rangers with the pressure, Dmytro Timashov drops his stick and then goes to get it. I know it's a popular opinion, dude, if you drop your stick, you're useless. Just go to the bench and get a new one, or swap off. You gotta have some situational awareness, man. The Rangers are attacking. Howden wide open shoots, scores 1-0. Leafs get a power play and they're trying to score, can't quite pull it off. Are we gonna get Georgiev again? But the top power play unit stays out there the entire time because they're looking dangerous. What a concept. John Tavares with the quick hands behind the net. Willie blasts it. Oh, if those two become a duo, you're in trouble. Not long after, Pierre Engvall, a bit of a desperation pass along the half boards, going to Cody Ceci. Now, I don't want to defend one of my new favorite players, Pierre Engvall, when he makes a mistake and criticize Cody Ceci, who I always seem to give it to, but it seemed like he could have played that a little differently. Artemi Panarin barreling down on him and still sort of turning off of it. Panarin with an unreal effort, though, crashing into the zone, flicking it over from his knees to Ryan Strome, who makes an excellent move on Freddie, dead to rights. It's 2-1. That's the first period. Second period, Ryan Strome comes in and just blasts it like it's the 80s or something. That beats Freddie, and it's 3-1. A Mona Lisa, this is not. Now, another thing that I got a lot of comments on was, is Freddie hurt? Well, to use the Michael Hutchison defense, the Leafs didn't give him much help. I am not concerned about Freddie. No, he has not looked the most crisp. I am not concerned about him. He hadn't played in a few days. Not concerned. Over the past 3 years, Freddie's been one of the most consistent goalies in the NHL by the numbers. You know that if he gives you a couple bad ones, a couple good ones are on their way. Rangers with a 3-1 lead. Right off the draw. It's sort of a scramble. Mitch Marner gets it, spins around to Austin Matthews, and he's just standing there with the puck. Like for a minute, he had to remind himself, wait a sec, I'm Austin Matthews. I'm Austin Matthews. Click! I don't have the Thanos glove. That's the best I can do. Missy Jake. Austin Matthews just with a standing still bomb, and it's 3-2, Leafs within 1. Again, if I don't sound that worked up, it's because I'm not, man. Over the last 10 games, 20 points up for grabs. The Leafs have found a way to grab 17. Have they looked perfect? No! No, their defense is terrible! I make fun of the idea that defense wins championships. I think that's a bit of an overrated mentality, but some defense wins championships, for crying out loud! But the reason I'm not worked up, look at the Strome goal. The second one. Look at the Matthews goal. The first one. Look at them! The Leafs and Rangers are two teams coming out of the Christmas break playing on the second half of a back-to-back. The game looked like a sloppy mess because it was. The Leafs then get a couple days off and play Minnesota on New Year's Eve. Now, if they look bad in that one, I'll be a little bit more concerned because they should have their bearings by now. But this Friday-Saturday back-to-back for both teams, ugh. Late in the second, Morgan Rielly takes it deep into the Rangers zone, but it's okay, he's allowed to do that because Mitch Marner is covering for him. Rangers start to clear it. Marner attacks to keep the puck in the zone, and the problem with that is if you whiff, you're screwed. He whipped. Tyson Barrie trying to catch up to Mika Zibanejad, but to no avail. Zibanejad with the fake bomb. He used Strome's goal against Freddie and tucks it in 5-hole. 4-2 Rangers. This is one thing that the Leafs have been doing so much better under Sheldon Keefe that they really failed at in this game. The forwards coming back and working the point. The forwards coming back and allowing the defense to take it for a little bit of a walk. He wasn't involved in this play, but to me, no defender has benefited more from that than Justin Hall. He's always taken the puck deep now. And one of the guys, one of the most consistent players I notice at getting back to the point, and not just to cover, but to work the puck, to fly it around, was Ilya Mikheyev. People admire his speed, his ability to go to the net and tip it in. He's such a variety Swiss Army knife player, but one of the big voids the Leafs are going to have to fill while he's out of the lineup, which sounds like it could be for the rest of the season, at very least the regular season, they gotta get back. They gotta embrace that role. Marner attacking there is exactly the sort of creative play that I think we love out of Mitch Marner. I'm not going to hammer him too hard for it. That just seemed like a move when you're losing in the third, maybe not so much the second. So now it's the third and the Leafs need a pair. Kasperi Kapanen charging in, stops up, to be expected. Both Rielly and Barrie are flying off the bench and the Rangers don't know what to expect. Would you? Rielly lets the puck go right by him. Tyson Barrie's got it. He handles it at the point. A real risky move, but he holds on. Fires it on net. Tipped by Pierre Engvall, scores! The Leafs are within one. It was a risk and reward play, but that is exactly the type of move I want to see out of Tyson Barrie. Earlier in the season, and under Mike Babcock, Barrie might have been a little bit better defensively, that's for sure. Which is great and all, and definitely has its uses, but we didn't get Tyson Barrie to do that. Heck, I was expecting Barrie to put up more points than Kadri, which sounds ridiculous until you realize Tyson Barrie has actually outscored Nazem Kadri for each of the last 2 seasons. It's like I said, if it's a tie game, if it's the second period, maybe you don't attempt what he did. Or maybe you do because you're Tyson frickin' Barrie. It worked out. Great move by him, great awareness from Kapanen at the start of the play, and great little tip from Engvall. Perfect between the legs. He needed that. He had a tough game. Just about a minute ago, a little over a minute ago, the Leafs need one. They're gonna get one. Austin Matthews wide open. Wide open, Georgiev flat out on the ground. Matthews hits the crossbar. This is what we're going to be talking about now. Great, great, cool. Austin Matthews scores a goal in this game. He's at 25 goals. He's second in the league in scoring. And all we're going to do is, oh, there he is. Like 20 seconds later, William Nylander finds Austin Matthews in almost the same spot, blasts it, tips off a Rangers defender's stick, and in, the Leafs tie it and send it to overtime. So, for any of you who are mad at Austin Matthews for hitting the crossbar before that goal, that's why you don't yell at him. That's why you don't get mad at him about goal scoring. On account of all the goals he scores. Second of the game, 26 of the season. He is in sole possession of second in goal scoring in the entire NHL. He's only 2 back of David Pastrnak. He's a little bit good. So they go to overtime. They secure the point. They got a point that I don't know if they deserved entirely, but they tie it in the final minute. They tie it with the empty net. That is something. Now we go to overtime and we all know what happened. First minute of OT. The Leafs with an excellent chance to win it. Morgan Rielly robbed. He is going to breakout, I'm serious. One of his better games in a long time, especially offensively. What do you have, 10 shots? But the Rangers survive for another shift, and here they come back the other way. Mitch has been unbelievable this season, but man, he's done a really bad job in overtime seeing what's going on around him. The Rangers bust out on a 2-on-1. God bless Tyson Barrie for being the lone guy back, but I'm not exactly sure how to defend a 2-on-1, but I'm pretty sure this ain't it. Rangers score, they get the extra point, and the Leafs 3 out of 4 on the back-to-back. Okay. 17 out of 20. Okay. But you could have won this one, guys. That is what I want the Leafs to take with them into the next couple days. Because you're not going to win them all. You're for sure not going to win them all. And most stretches are not going to be 17 out of 20 points. But this team wasn't good enough defensively before Jake Muzzin got hurt. They're especially woeful now. What's the answer? Like, is it what I said before? Or do you want to keep the chemistry going with Riley Berry, see if they get it together, and then maybe reunite the dermatologist pairing with Justin Hall and Travis Dermott and Martin Marincin and oh my god, what's going on here? Martin Marincin and Cody Ceci, there it is, and that sounds pretty bad. And then all of a sudden you throw Rasmus Sandin and Cody Ceci and it sounds a little bit better. Timothy Liljegren, like, what the heck about me? I think the Leafs have something up their sleeve. Adam Brooks getting into his first NHL game. I don't really have an opinion on how he played on account of he played like 5 minutes. It's not enough to really evaluate. And Sheldon Keefe doesn't use his fourth line as much, or at least he hasn't been. And Elliot Friedman saying on the broadcast last night that the Leafs have 3 guys who are out there. Ben Harper, because obviously he casually dropped that one. Dmytro Timashov is a name that has been thrown out there. Why not? He's a decent little player on a league minimum contract. And Jeremy Bracco. Bracco is one of the best playmakers, one of the best passers in the American Hockey League. He might be the second best passer in the organization behind Marner. I think Scott Wheeler got dumped on for that. He's crazy good at it. The problem is everything else about his game. It's like, okay, he's 22, that's still young, but they're hoping to see steps that they're just not seeing. And he's starting to get itchy too. He got the call-up recently. I think it was just the emergency call-up. He thinks he can play in the NHL, and honestly, he probably can for someone. Can he do it for the Leafs? Kenny Agostino just got the call up for the Leafs. I really like him. I think he's a good fill-in for Soup. I thought he should have made the team out of camp, frankly. Does Bracco have the potential to be better than Agostino one day? Yeah, big time. How about right now? He's not what they need. An offensively gifted, defensively deficient player. They have those. Remember when Barry asked for a trade? Is that still a thing? CC, is that still going on? Backup goalie, what about that? On one hand, it's a tight playoff race. The Leafs have played more games than most. They maybe need to make a move, but on the other hand, teams know that they're desperate without Muzzin, so do you really want to make that move right now? Questions. What is wrong with Mo? Completely different than last year. An injury or something else? Well, I've been saying this all season that Morgan Riley hasn't looked quite right, but I thought this was a weird game for you to ask that, because I thought it was one of his better ones in quite some time. If Morgan plays like he did last night against the Rangers, I'm going to be asking less questions about him being injured for sure. On the LFR for the Hurricanes game, you said a scar is not a reminder of failure, a scar is a reminder of survival. Did you make that up yourself, or is it from something? I love that line. Applicable to so many situations, and so resonant as a Leafs fan in this moment. I made that up myself. I didn't do a lot of reading, because I don't know if you could tell from watching that video, I was pretty much vibrating. I'm sure there's a similar line out there somewhere. According to media, we need to panic, and teams have our offense figured out. But we are 8-1-1 with 17 goals in our last 3 games. Wow, they're 8-1-1 in the last 3 games? Is the media just unable to say good things about the Leafs? Well, look, I think the criticism that they're not able to defend very well is totally legit. They allowed 6 from the Hurricanes, they allowed 4 from the Devils, and they allowed 5 from the Rangers. That's not good. But Steve, they scored 8, 5, and 4. Yeah, that's good. That's great. It is perfectly legitimate to say that the Leafs need to get better defensively. Come on. I will say this though, having worked in the media for a long time in Toronto and for basically every company. I work for Rogers now. I've collected a Bell paycheck when I was at the NHL Network. I was at CBC before, Leafs TV even. Especially nationally even, people are hesitant to give the Leafs too much praise. And I know some fans from outside of Toronto are going to roll their eyes at that. But whenever Brady Tkachuk or Carey Price or Patrick Laine or Connor McDavid or Johnny Gaudreau or Elias Pettersson end up on the news, I never go, ugh, here we go again. I'm like, yeah, those are very good players. I understand why they're on the television right now, but any praise of the Leafs is seen as homerism. Dude, Freddie could have the best season in the NHL this year as a goalie, and he's not winning the Vezina. He's not going to get a sniff because people are afraid to vote for Leafs. And you might turn around and say, Steve, that's ridiculous. Zach Hyman got Selke votes in each of the past few seasons, and I would say, yeah, he was like 20th. So I'm sorry, that was a very disorganized way of me saying, yeah, the Leafs are pretty bad defensively, but please be nice to my boys. That is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you like this video, click subscribe. If you really liked it, tell all your friends. There's a bunch of playlists and stuff to click all around my head right now. Right now at this very moment. They're playlists to more content. Book.